was then, Reds. How'd you like that, Errol? Well, that wasn't bad.
It was all right.
I could have got you to do it, but that would have been easy. Like, I could have got a Scouser to do a Scouse accent, but what's the fun in that, right?
You know that. You know that.
You know that.
Yeah.
What a win that! What a win that was then. Reds.
That was a good win still. It was. It was.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Post-Match Khanage. Leicester City 0. Liverpool 3. So much to get through. So little time. Why waste it? Ohms, I never doubted that from the start, as you guys know in the groups, WhatsApp group. I was confident, I was cocky, I was arrogant. I knew we were going to go to the Trent Power Stadium. I like that. We went to the Trent Power Stadium. And apart from the opening 10 minutes where it's always going to be difficult when you're playing 12 men, naturally, if the other team have got an extra man, it's always going to be hard. And they had an extra man because that referee was in his element in that opening 10-15 minutes. Absolutely was refusing to give us any call whatsoever. But we overcame 12 men. In the end, one of the most easiest away performances you're likely to see.
It was, guys, just to let you all know, Grizz was not as confident as he did say he was.
I'm sorry, there's no proof of that. You cannot, so we'll continue. You have no proof. You cannot prove that.
Oh shit! I can go on Twitter right now, release the screenshots if you want. Twitter had me saying a 5-0 win. So if Mohamed Salah could finish, I'm spot on. So but yeah, man. To be fair, it's the King Power. We either go there and absolutely dominate, or we lose. And I guess we're coming. Newcastle, Man United. You lot, look over your shoulder. You got tough games. And I remember, Grizz, after Leeds, right? Do you remember the Leeds stream where I was like, it could be on? Are you believing now? Are you believing? Do you feel?
Look, I'm believing us. I just don't believe. Listen, you don't go anywhere because even though you got those laughing emojis, right? I know you're sweating inside. I know he's sweating inside.
He's sweating. I spoke to him yesterday. Oh, we did Pete's show. I spoke to him yesterday. He's sweating, bro.
Look at his profile picture, right? Look how much he's sweating in that top. Look at his face is sweaty. Don't go anywhere, my brother. Don't go anywhere. We have our foot firmly on your neck. You know what I mean? So don't relax. Calm down with the laughing emojis. Love from the Caribbean. Big up Joel Villafana. Big up yourself. So many things to talk about. Where do we go? Errol, I guess it was always thought to be a tricky game away from home. They're fighting for their lives. Their fight lasted about 10 minutes before we throttled them, I thought.
We was relentless today. Where have those away performances been all season? Like, where have they been all season? Because, I don't know whether it's the fact that we was playing in red and we was on the road or what, but this Liverpool team today seemed hungry. We had that, we had the bit between our teeth, as if to say, we know we're on job. We know what is required. We know what is required of us today. So there's no effing about. There's no misplaced passes. There's nothing sloppy. We're not gifting them easy goals. So we've got to score 2 or 3 and make our job harder for ourselves. We are going to be the most ruthless version of ourselves. And I've had conversations last couple of weeks in respect to the fact that people have said, all right, yeah, Liverpool, credit to them, are getting results, but they're not playing great football. That was great football tonight. Everything about that was enthralling to watch. You watch that and you recognise so many of those performances. You recognise the level. Fabinho was performing to a level where we've not seen Fabinho perform all season. You've got the likes of Gakpo making it look effortless now. He's only been with us less than 6 months, but he's making that false 9 role his own, and he's really just kind of grew into it. You've got Diaz that's got that electric pace and he's still frightening. And he's still not the finished article of what we need him to be by any stretch. But that raw talent that he's got is frightening to defences. Robbo and him getting a little bit more synergy. It was an absolutely incredible performance from back to front today. And it's been a long time coming. Liverpool fans, across the board are still devastated, to be honest, that it's happening at this point in the season when so much is we've let so much get away from us. But it is to remind us that we were not as far away from our true selves as we might have thought back in January or February. We was quite damning with a lot of our thoughts and our predictions, and I think this makes us recalibrate and look at things slightly differently. But you know what? It's a good result, man. Great performance, so you've got to be happy with it.
Yeah, look, Holmes, at the end of the day, look, we know what's happened. We've chatted and rinsed the topics and subjects to death. We know what needs to be done. We know where we failed. All we wanted and asked for was from 7-8 games out, finish strong, finish the campaign as well as we can, make the necessary adjustment, recruitments, call it what you want, and we go again. But it was vital that we go into going again, period. It was vital we go into Liverpool 2.0, period, showing glimpses of life, energy, and passion. And we've shown all of that in abundance in the 7 games. And there's another 2 to go. Finish off with 9 wins in a row. If we end up in top 4, absolute humongous bonus.
Yeah.
Right? Absolute humongous bonus. But I'm more interested in the 9 wins in a row, the new patterns of play, and revitalized, re-energized Liverpool.
It's refreshed our whole team. I think it's refreshed the coaching staff, like just them coaching something new, because we were all saying the same thing. It was getting stale. It was the same old, trying to force the same old tactics where if they aren't working, it turns into a bit of madness, just trying to force. All of a sudden, this new system has just brought out the best of everyone. I think the best example of that is Fabinho, in terms of he's now got people around him. So you've got Trent playing right next to him. You've got Henderson there. You've got Jones there. You've got Gakpo dropping in. You all of a sudden, we're attacking through the middle. Whereas for so long, it was just like, oh, all right, try and win the ball back. Let's get it wide and let's see if we can do anything with cross. It got boring and we just looked stale. So, yeah, the 9 wins. I'm with you. Like, I know I talk up this Champions League thing, but I still wouldn't make us bang on for it. I still think a lot has to happen.
Yeah. We need snookers, man. We need snookers.
Yeah. Absolutely. But all we can do is play well, win, and try and bring that momentum into next season. Because if it is how it's going to be planned, we're going to have a proper preseason. Guys I don't think there's many international tournaments.
No, there isn't.
So, look, if we can go into that preseason fresh, get some new faces in, have a new outlook on the squad, off this run of form, which has sort of woken us up again, then who's to say we can't get back to the levels we've shown? Because right now, us and City are the form teams in the league, and it's been like that for the last 5-6 years, and we're showing it again. But obviously, we haven't done it all season.
Do you know what? It's a chance to refresh, as he says, Errol. Chance to recuperate. Chance for new players to get accustomed to new positions, and then it kind of excites you, doesn't it? And it kind of gives you a chance to impress again, a fresh start. Mm-hmm. And we've spoken about Trent, and I don't think we need to speak much on him. I think we need to speak on another local lad who has gone under the radar, who has been on the end of a lot of criticism from Liverpool fan base, sometimes justified, mostly not, who's coming into his own element again. And for me, was the classiest player on the pitch today, Curtis Jones.
Yeah, man. Come on. Another Scouse in the mix. Oh, bro. Do you know what? And let's be honest, Curtis Jones is one that not only has divided our fan base for a while, but he'd become quite a frustrating figure because we've been crying out for that extra midfield reinforcements this season. You know, as long established fans, I think most people had already put the writing on the wall for a Naby Keita. You know, not to say that you've not got the talent or the capability, but he can't put the run of games in, and we've accepted that, so we need to move on from it. Same with Oxlade-Chamberlain, but Curtis Jones is that young player that's meant to be stepping into his, not necessarily his prime, but stepping into now wanting to make a claim for a first team spot on a regular basis. And the frustrating thing, not necessarily was about his, I think there's two elements that I got particularly frustrated about, was his availability. And then when he did get the chances, there was a lot of times when he just took a little bit too long on the ball. And that was the thing that I felt just kind of held him back. Not necessarily he was playing within himself, but it held him back and didn't allow him to fully display the talent that he's got, because he was just still stuck. He hadn't really made the grade and maybe able to make that crossover to, you know, playing Premier League football. When he goes away with England on the under-21s, he looks phenomenal. When he's played with the reserves, he's looked phenomenal. So all of those things, you usually like to believe that, you know, the kid's got the talent. The last couple of games, I've been really impressed with the fact that he has now took that shit and said, all right, well, you're going to have to play better than me, and I'm going to be the best midfielder in this team right now for the next couple of weeks. And unless someone can play better than me, I can knock up on the gaffer's door for the next game to say I'm starting again. And that's probably been the biggest sign of the growth and the maturity that he's had to show over the last couple of weeks. It's got to be frustrating to see another Scouser in your team, the likes of Trent. His place is nailed on because of the amount of talent that's in him. It's got to be frustrating to see other people, you know, Basesic overtaking him, Harvey Elliott getting more minutes than him. But you've got to have that self-belief. You've got to back yourself that once you've got over your injuries, you're going to come good. You're going to do what's required of you. And to be honest, the last 6-7 games, he hasn't put a foot wrong. And I know for a lot of our performances, we've just been doing enough to get us over the line. We've not looked scintillating. We've not been red arrows, and we've not been absolutely putting teams to the sword. But he's been integral in us doing the job, getting the bodies around Fabinho, having the extra bit of legs. He's been integral of building the play, getting assists, scoring goals. Now we're starting to see a much more confident, a much more polished, and a much more capable Curtis Jones fully embedded into this Liverpool team. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for that.
Do you know what it is, guys? The last match, or I think maybe in this run of form that he's shown up and turned up, I compared one of his performances, and I can't remember now for the life of me, to the most Gini performance since Gini. And what I meant by that was the effectiveness, the off the ball, the knitting of the play, the dynamism in the pressing, the strength on the ball. He showed us he can do that aspect. Today, he showed us he's got an eye for a goal. He's a clean striker of the ball. His technique is, I've always said his technique is spot on. Today, he went and showed us another level. So every question we're asking from this kid, he's got the answers. Sorry,
well,
I'll go to you.
It's okay to just to further the point that you're making. So Curtis Jones versus Leicester today, 2 goals, 91% pass accuracy, 100% shot accuracy, 100% dribble success, 100% long ball accuracy, 100% tackles won, and 5 recoveries. The kid didn't put a foot wrong in the game.
Wow. Those stats. I mean, Ohms, and again, you know, as you do on Twitter, you find all glorious tweets of yours where you and you bask in the glory of old tweets. And there was one from about 3 years ago where I said, I ask myself the question, or ask questions of this young kid, and he keeps answering them. 3 years later down the line, there is still questions from certain sections of the fan base, and he's continually answering them again, isn't he, Holmes?
So, yeah, no, I agree. I've never understood the narrative about his ability and him being a bad footballer. Personally, my biggest issue with him was, again, like Errol said, his availability. And I think if you look at his record with us, especially over the last couple of seasons, I think start of the season before this, he was injured. He came into the team, had a really good November. Then Salah Mane go to AFCON. He carries our midfield in some big games. I'm thinking about Brentford at home, Arsenal away in the Carabao Cup. Then he gets injured again. Then he's sort of, we're in the groove, in the running. You're not going to get some changes. He had that eye injury as well. He had like a freak injury at the start of this season. For me, his ability, I've never doubted. And I think there's a narrative that he's just distinctly average. No, he's such a clever footballer. He plays with his brain. He's his technique, his work rate. I think something that's really underrated. I think when we look at Curtis Jones, I think a lot of fans fall into a trap of, oh, what was he like as an academy kid? He was someone who scored lots of goals, right? And they're probably thinking, we don't really have that many goals from midfield. He's going to have to be the guy to score the goals from midfield. And the fact that he hasn't scored as many goals has made people think, wow, is he really that good of a player? He's 20, he's 21 still. Like,
do you know what I find, Holmes? Everyone we keep, and I'm guilty of it as well. We keep asking more and more questions. We're just impatient. Okay, can he keep hold of the ball? He keeps hold of the ball. Okay, can he? Yeah, but he's safe in possession. Okay, he's safe in possession. Can he do forward passes? Okay, he does forward passes. Can he add assists? He adds assists. Can he add goals? He had goals. 22. He's playing in a complex midfield setup that we keep revolving and revolving. Different players, no settled team. The moment he's at a settled lineup, the moment he's at a settled role, he's showing. He's showing himself. And that's key, right?
Yeah. And he's the one sort of dictating it from midfield at times from that side. I mean, you've got Trent on the other side coming in and sort of pulling the strings, but in a way of like just keeping it ticking and ticking. He's just there. He's like Errol laid down his stat line. It was
Errol, send me those stats on WhatsApp.
Yeah, man, I'll send you them now, bro. The thing is as well, when you actually deep it, I think I've been very critical of that left-hand side in general, not just necessarily since Genie left, but since Mane went this season and then Diaz has been injured. The synergy on that left-hand side, it's been out of kilt for me for a good couple of months, and it's so hard to then drop someone in. Obviously, when Thiago comes in and he's, big up yourself there, Johnny boy. When you've got the likes of Thiago, you can see the levels improve dramatically just because of the quality that he brings, but there's still not necessarily the same level of cohesion. Curtis Jones has offered up that cohesion in recent weeks, and you've got to give him a lot of credit because, as I said, it would be easy to feel overwhelmed by the responsibility. It would be easy to be overwhelmed by the fact that at this point in his career, it's not hit the heights he might have expected. It's not hit the heights that some people around the city will have expected. The wider fan base has been expecting of him, and he's seeing other people. Does he even get this chance if Stefan Bajcetic isn't injured at this point in the season? Does he get the opportunity to step up and fill in? Would Klopp have still more trust in his ability and in Trent in the way that he has to revolutionise this midfield formation for us? So there are questions there, but the thing is, when your manager turns to you and says, "Are you ready?" You've got to back yourself. You've got to believe that you can do it. And it's not just believing you can do it as a one-off. He believes he can be that guy and he can do that job.
Curtis Jones, bro. You need big cojones to do that. You need to do that. And he's showing that. He's showing that everything. Holmes, the first goal. What a lovely goal. I love goals like that. Again, Alisson with the vision, with the pass. Who wins the header? Is it Gakpo who wins the first? Diaz wins the first header. Yeah, Diaz wins the header. Who I thought who had his most rustiest game, which is allowed. Yeah. He's been out for months. Yeah, and
you know what it was? He still looked dangerous. He's still like he
never shied away.
Exactly.
He never shied away. He wanted the ball. He wasn't having a touch. And the ball goes out. Henderson with a touch onto Salah. I love playmaking Salah. When Salah's got his playmaking hat on, he's a little genius, He can be a little playmaker supreme. That was a lovely pass straight into Curtis Jones. Very much like do you remember his goal against in the European Cup? Champions League. Do you remember last couple of seasons ago? Empty ground.
Atalanta. Was it Ajax? No.
Ajax.
Yeah.
Ajax.
Joe, he's shouting for it as well, Grizz. He knows he's the
demanding it, running it. He's demanding it.
He's the
confidence.
How many times have we seen that from Salah as well this season? What's that? 10 assists now in the league. I know you stat padded a few today, but do you remember that whole discussion about Salah? He couldn't really do anything other than sort of cut in from that side and play inside. Salah, since the start of last season, has been playing wide right. And then the thing is with Salah, if you get him one-on-one with defenders and you manipulate situations to just get him running at people and having that space on that right-hand side, which we are doing now, he's clear. He's just clear in that position. Like when we're talking in the league, at least, because his and he's got it in. He's got passes in his bag. He's got the little Trivella. We've seen it a few times. He's got that one. He did it to can't remember who. I think it was Nunez against Madrid, where he like slid it through. So look, I know he could have scored as well, but it's something.
Yeah, he actually had a very poor game, and again, he had a very poor game. But this is the genius we're working with. This is the genius.
Yeah. That's the level. That's the drop off. My man's got a poor game. He's got 3 assists. Yeah. So isn't he? Like this is the beauty of the way that this team is starting to bubble over right now. The fact that you've got a triumphant in Diaz, Gakpo, and Salah. That you've got the frightening pace of a Diaz. You've got the playmaking ability and the false nine and the reading of the game and the additional press of a Gakpo. And then you've got Salah being your talisman. You didn't need any of those 3 to score because you've got 3 goals from your midfield. That hasn't happened.
These numbers are scary as well.
Yeah, the Salah's numbers are crazy, but deep that though, Grizz, like you just won a game 3-0. And your front 3 haven't even got on the score sheet.
That's what I mean. And they all had average games.
And again, to add even more weight to that, none of them were set-piece goals. Because we've done a lot of that this season. We've had big moments, set pieces, man's coming up from set pieces and scoring, whether it's been Ibu, whether it's been Matip, whether it's been Van Dijk. There's been those goals that we can bank on. There've been some games when you're looking at how we penetrate a team and you think to ourselves, we're not going to score unless it's from a set piece today. Like, it's going to have to be a set piece to get us over the line.
We're not going to count Trent as a set piece because it was technically open play.
Yeah, but it's a direct free kick, though, at the same time. It's not like not like the corners that we've been doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, the goals that we score from more set pieces, I like to think of the ones where we're either crossing it into the box and someone's trying to get past that first man and we score from them, or we score from corners. They're like our typical set piece goals that we score. We've not really scored that many free kicks this season anyway, if I'm right in saying.
We scored the opening goal and I felt much more calmer, comfortable. As I said, it took us a few minutes to get going. Well, 15, 20 minutes. We knew they're going to be up for it. A lovely composed finish, Ohms. And then the second one, again, Salah with a beautiful, incisive, underrated little pass into him. But the touch and the finish, I don't know who it reminded you of. It reminded me of Robbie Fowler in his prime, where he used to swivel like that and smash it into the top corner.
It was a short backswing as well.
Yeah, instinctive. I actually thought it was offside, but we're not going to complain. We don't give a shit about that. Who cares? But yeah, 2-0, we're coasting. Again, Curtis Jones getting in the box. He's doing a bit of everything, lads. Lads, if this guy's on the market, we're screaming to spend 50 million on him. You know that, right?
Yeah.
If we've got a 22, 23-year-old playing in the top division in Serie A, Spanish League, whatever, blah, 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 and we're saying 22, do you know what? He's had a few injuries. He could be potentially coming good. Let's try to get him early and cheap before he explodes. That kid is Curtis Jones. That is a 50 million player. We're saying, you know what? If he's fully fit and fully firing, he's going to cost 60, 70. Let's go and spend 50 million on him. Because he can do a bit of everything.
I don't know how.
I'm in agreement.
That's high praise, and that's based on what he's doing right now. I think there's 2 ways to look at it.
What can't he do?
No, there's nothing that he can't do, but it's about the consistency for me and the availability.
But that's where a club like Liverpool buys that potential.
But I say you can't gamble that on, a quarter of a season, the bag that size. I think if you'd have seen that body of work for an entire season, you would be saying there's 50, 60 million pounds worth of a player in Curtis Jones. The fact that he's done it for a third of the season, the price isn't going to be massively impacted. I just think in terms of what you're saying, you'd identify that player and I don't think you'd necessarily have to break the bank to get him, but you'd still have to throw in a good 25, 30 mil offer to be able to secure him. I don't think you'd be looking at the crazy numbers that you see touted for the likes of Maddison, you see touted for the likes of Rice, you see entitled for the likes of a Caicedo, because I think those lads have got the body of work to support. If you get him and you keep him fit, he's going to perform.
This is but I mean, Holmes, I think you agreed with me, so I want to hear you because obviously you agreed with me, right? Because that's how it works, right? If you agree with me, I don't mute you, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so, but
Errol,
you
you've
get
been warned.
a slight little underhand thing. No, I hear you. The body, you're Errol's spot on. The body of work ain't there. We need to see it over a long period of time, sure. But what I meant was the point I was trying to make, I think, and I didn't make it well enough. The point I'm trying to make is opportunities clubs like Liverpool in the past see the potential, see the background, see the period he's missed, look at him before and look at him now and think, you know what, in terms of exploiting the market and for a price, this is a kid that we can get before he goes world class. So therefore, I don't think he's world class yet, but I think he can become on the cusp of becoming world class. Do you get what I'm saying?
I just think you look at someone like Curtis Jones and you got him for free from your academy, and on the whole, when he's played, I think he's been more impressive than he's not been impressive. Like you think of people who have genuine stinkers at times for Liverpool, like someone like Fabinho this season has had some stinkers, and you're like, yeah, fair enough. But you look at Curtis Jones and you're like, he's been good. At the very least, he's been good. And what's that? Is that like 7-8 games in a row? He's come into this team as we've hit form. And coincidence or not, he's been a massive part to that. He's been a massive part to this system. So
I want to say something really nasty. Oh, go on, you go first.
Let me throw you a bone on this. The season when Van Dijk's out injured and we sneak into top 4, we actually finished third that season. Which player comes into Liverpool's team, the left side of the midfield, and puts in 8-9 world-class performances?
I already know, bro.
That ascend us to getting across the line.
I already know, bro. And I've mentioned this before. And you know what? That sort of was also synonymous with? It was also synonymous with a run of games. So the last batch of games that he's had a continuous run he was superb in the season that we finished third in a 5-horse race or whatever it was. We had no choice. We had no position. We had no what's the word? We had no chance of finishing third or top 4. We were 10th at one stage or something with 10 games to go or something. We pulled it off. He had a consistent run of games. Him, Gini, I think it was Thiago. Yeah. I mean, they were the only fit midfielders we had. Yeah. This was what I was going to say. There's a name that people have mentioned. In the chat, and I don't want to shit on the guy. He's going now, so good luck to him. Wherever, blah, blah, blah. But it's true. Tell me how many games we can remember Naby Keita performing like that in the 5 years that he's been here.
It's that old saying: availability is the best ability. And look, again, it's with someone like Naby Keita. Like he's had good moments, right? You look at the
moments, few games against United. I struggle. People always ask me, City in the semi-final.
Yeah, but then this is the difference with Jones. He's been available. He's been there. This is his longest run of games in the team, and all of a sudden, the general consensus around him is changing. And I think again, even when he's had good patches of form, it's not like he's in the peak of his career where he's going to play like 25, 30 games on the trot. He's still super young. I think there's an element of Klopp protecting him in a way where we've got people like Thiago, we had Wijnaldum in there who probably get the nod in big games. But you're going to have to, you have to do it with young players. They're not going to have that body of work like Errol's asking for, but you've got to, it's like when you go for a job interview or whatever, and you've got no work experience or whatever, but someone needs to give you that chance so you can then have that experience. And then when you do have it, you show what you've got, then the world's your oyster. And
I've been saying it for a while as well. It was like when I deep it, yeah, you could have these young trailblazers fresh out the block, like young lads that are quality ballers that everyone thinks, wow, you're going to go to the top end echelons of world football. And they do, but they're stars that burn bright for a very short period. And I've always put Curtis Jones in the secondary category where I can have the conversation and say to people, well, if Curtis Jones isn't going to be that star from 17, 18, 19 and be burnt out by the time he's 24, what happens if he hits his prime at 24, but then you get him to 34 and he's world class? He delivers you 10 years of high quality availability, performances, and obviously he's got the DNA of the club running through his veins. You very rarely get someone who breaks onto the scene at 17 and goes on to 35. You're looking at someone like a James Milner, and let's be honest, James Milner's not always been given this flowers at every single club that he's been at. I think he recognised what he's done over the longevity, but he was never always the star in that team. He was never always the carrier. He's been able to develop, and he's been very malleable in whatever setting he's been put in. Most players, especially within the new, not necessarily the new way of football, but the way players come through now, you either explode onto the scene and you make a massive impact. I'm thinking of like the Dele Allis, the Oxers have done it in the past, Jack Wilsheres have done it in the past. There have been so many midfielders, English midfielders that we've had, talented, that have blew onto the scene, but burnt off and faded away. Equally, there are other ones that matured that a little bit later, the Declan Rices of this world. You say someone that even put the likes of a Milner in that in terms of the way that he's matured later into his game. There are other players that you can look at and say they played better after 24 than he did before he was 24, but he got given a chance.
Gandahar sends in a super chat, says CJ was amazing. Hopefully we still signed 3 midfielders. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. None of us are saying that, oh, Curtis Jones means we don't sign what we need to sign, which is 3 midfielders. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted.
I want to know what Klopp thinks about Fabinho, because you know what he's like. Because I imagine there was a point in the season where Klopp was probably thinking, right, we should probably cash in on him. Whereas I reckon Klopp is now thinking he could produce some use in this team. But do you think that stops us from getting a DM, or?
It's up in the air right now, isn't it? The names that are being linked are progressive 8s, all-rounders, not out-and-out DMs. The only one that we've been linked with strongly is Agate. And Neil Jones has come out and said we're not really interested in him from a Liverpool point of view.
See, I think we need, if we were to look at Brighton, I think we need Caicedo more than we need McAllister.
I have absolute no doubt. I would break the bank. I would do what's needed. If you give me one choice of a midfielder in world football right now, that would be Moises Caicedo.
Yeah.
I think he elevates any team's position by at least 1 or 2 places.
And let's be real. It looks as though City are going to try and break the bank for a Declan Rice. Now, that's a frightening proposition if you've watched him in recent weeks as well. I know you've been an admirer of him for a while, Grizz. But let's be real. They're already a serious proposition, City. We know what they're capable of. They're on the cusp of a treble.
Bro, but we can't be worried about that. You're right.
No, but Grizz,
it's scary.
No, it's not about being worried. Let's be concise with it. For years gone by up until this season, our objective was to try and pull the gap away from City. This season, we fell back. So if they're going to then add the Declan Rice, they are going to pull away even further than the chasing pack. How else do you plug that gap? You need a blockbuster midfielder in the mold of the Moises Caicedo, as you said,
100%.
In order to bridge that gap. Does it take us over the edge? Maybe not, but that's why you get another 2 or 3 other players in and around them to bolster the squad. But in terms of having that linchpin that is going to be we need a signing that is going to be as transformative in that midfield engine room as Virgil van Dijk was for us in the defensive back.
1,000,000%, sir. 1,000,000%. There's not even a doubt about it. Johnny says, great lineup, get it all back again, please. Listen, I'm on a budget here, bro. You know what I mean? Allow me, innit? I'm on a budget.
He's giving people like me work experience.
I'm trying to get by with
Errol.
I'm trying to get by with work experience boys like Holmes and Bilal and shit, man.
He called me a Jude. I got double booked. He's like, you're a Judas, man.
I had to cuss him. To get him on. I had to cuss him.
I had to beg to come back to do the show today. I said, no.
talking about,
I'll be there after the match.
Talking about great, valuable contributors to the channel. Of course, Conroy's in the building. Let's big up the chat. Smash the likes. Nearly 300 of you guys. You know, we're gonna wrap up very soon, but we can't wrap up the show without mentioning Trent Alexander the Great, who has a habit, as you named him, the Trent Bow Stadium, to go to, I was gonna say Filbert Street, run the show from start to finish again. I liked his performance. It was nice. It was calm. He ran the show, sexy passes, knew what he was doing, tenacious at the back as well. A couple of times he was like, yo, you're not getting past me. Stiff. You know, I like when he's stiff and strong because he's a strong kid. He can show, he can be more physical. And I like that when he is more physical. But obviously he tops off with a third goal, which made everyone relax and calm. Yeah, Trent can do shit like that. Why he doesn't do it more often is the question, right?
I think, yeah, objectively, I know Curtis Jones got man of the match, but objectively, if you look at the game and you're like, who was the best player on that pitch? I think it's Trent. I think I think something really underrated about his passing is we all talk about his long range passing, his vision, like whatever. He played that little flip ball over the top to Gakpo. That's filthy, right? But it's the simple things he does as well, really well, where he progresses the ball 5-10 meters up the pitch in really tight areas in midfield.
I love that. I love those little passes.
So effective because you can play the ball around. You can play the ball around the back. You can play the safe pass, but he plays really effective, semi dangerous passes exactly where you'd want it. Fabinho, if he wants it on his right foot, he'll play it. He'll put it there. It's like Thiago has this trait where he'll put the ball where you want it, and Trent seems to have that as well. So I think, yeah, he's just stand-up player on that pitch right now. I think Southgate was watching again. He's probably thinking, bloody hell, I don't have the ability to
run Southgate, man.
Miss out this kid because
he's clueless, bro. He hasn't got a clue. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. So
yo, some very disrespectful dickheads in here. Why are you making me call you lot dickheads? Like, this is Paul from Grizz. What was he saying? Hold on, what's this, man? Wait, hold on. This is Paul from Grizz. Who the fuck are you telling me this is Paul from Grizz? I'm doing a show on my own channel. Are you lot really want me to block all you? You know me, I'm ruthless, innit? I don't give a shit about this. Like, don't come my channel and come my chat and disrespect me. You idiots. Get out of here. Anyway, yeah, man, they think I'm going to be one of those ones. Oh, sorry for this. Well, shut up. Of course, I'm going on a Big Six. We already got it planned. Big Six is coming. Right now, we got to do what we got to do about Liverpool Football Club. Listen, Errol, all we can do is win games and see where it lands us.
Standard. 7
wins in a row, 2 games to roll. What are you saying? Talk to me. Win 9 and Pip.
We're going to... I said the Leicester game was a tricky one just because we was on the road. Outside of that, after seeing that performance now, I'll stick my neck on the line even further and just confirm we are going to win the last 2 games of the season. We are. I already felt we was going to win the 3 on the spin anyway. I felt that there was a change in mentality and a change in... I think there's been a change in attitude because I know the levels and the quality's been there all season. We've just had a bit of an attitude problem. It's been a bit stinky this year or this season. At times, they walked into games thinking that just on aura alone, they deserve 3 points. And the Premier League has made a mug out of many teams this season to say you can't do that. That's not how the Prem works. And I think the penny finally dropped. I think probably just before the City game, even just before that, I think there was a bit of a penny drop. And then obviously the City game was another humbler to remind you of actually how far have we fell considering we used to go toe-to-toe with them. And then since then, they've picked up their ideas. I think they knew 71 points was, if that's all we can take out of this season, we're going to take that. And it's on everyone else to be flawless in their pursuit to finish above us. And I think that attitude change has probably been the catalyst, really, to enable us to, I think we'll get that over the line. And I think that really does apply the pressure on the teams around us now. And I would like to think, my heart is telling me, Grizz, that one of those 2 teams above us is going to bottle it. They're going to shit.
I think all we can ask for is let's get to that final day in the hunt. And then anything can happen on that final day, right? You expect us to be bottom of the table Southampton, right?
Max.
Newcastle got to go Chelsea. And I think that could be a banana skin. Although look at Chelsea.
Chelsea have got to do something for us, man. They cannot lose every single game left of the season. They play They play Newcastle and United. Surely in one of those games they got to show me something. Show me something.
Well, he needs to win a game. He's only got one game left at Stamford Bridge, and he's not won there, I don't think.
Super Frank's got to go out on a high, man. But listen, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Liverpool smash Leicester City 3-0. The Scousers in the team go fox hunting. Curtis Jones, Trent Power Stadium, all them headlines. All we can do is win our games, see where it lands us. I want to thank Errol. I want to thank Work Experience Ohms. That's your new name, Work Experience Ohms. People in the building, if you haven't liked the stream, what are you doing already? I should be on 200 likes, but I'm not. Like everyone in the stream, like the stream right now. I'm over. Is there a super chat that I missed? I can't remember now, but whatever it is. If it is, we out. I gotta go. I'm being called. I'm contracted. You know what I mean? Pays the bills, you know? You understand? All right, you better be understand.